alcohol and the rapid decline. Everything will fall to bits in your life if you continue to drink regularly. There's a few parts to this. We'll start with the health because that's the most important. When you're in your 20s, early 30s, you can probably take quite a bit of alcohol. I was drinking reasonably heavily in that sort of period. Just beers and lagers, because I was informed by people senior to me, it's mainly water that won't kill you. Keep off the top shelf. Don't drink spirits, which I never did. So, but it doesn't matter what you're drinking, it's all the same poison. Ethanol, isn't it? So when you get a little bit older, 20s, late 20s, early 30s, you'll start to feel that you've got a few headaches. You'll be doing all right at work, sort of quite ambitious, and you'll start feeling maybe a little bit nauseous, a bit more tired than you used to, because your body can't keep going at the same rate that when you're 21. You're probably drinking a bit more as well, because you may be married, in a relationship, kids, all this sort of thing. You haven't got the same sort of downtime, the same relaxed time you used to have. Just have a few drinks and go home when you lived on your own. Just relax, nobody's going to be there, not answerable to anybody. Get up next day, get up late, a bit of breakfast, feel pretty good really. Go to work, what have you got to do? Maybe have another few pints with the lads or whatever the next day. When you start buying houses or renting houses, when you've got somebody to support, the stress is a lot different. And if you're like me, you're a bit anxious about things, you may drink a bit more. That's what happened to me. And then you get a little bit older and you start to feel really rough. And you think, oh God, I've got to have a hair of the dog. And just maybe have a drink in the morning or a bit earlier in the day, and you feel a little bit better. Now, that leads on to another stage of it where you know there are consequences to this drinking, but you still can't give it up. In the end, I was pretty ill, even in my early 40s with it. I was just so tired and worn out and drinking every day. I went to the doctor, got some diazepam, which is a type of Valium, and it basically, I could stop with that 7-day prescription of that, and I was off the drink for a couple of times, actually 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and then eventually 8 years I was off, but I still went back. So relapse was so dangerous. And then after that, I was seriously ill, which I've gone into in another video. If anybody wants to get some more details on that, just drop me a comment, I'll do another video. But when you're going through this health thing, your productivity will diminish as well. You don't feel as well at work, you're not as ambitious, you lose your spark, I would say, and your focus at work, what you wanted to achieve. Most people are fairly ambitious, I used to work with, and a lot of us who drank too much lost that, and it was a bit of a case of, well, we'll go to work, do the best we can, but we'll always go for a drink after. And to me, when I was a little bit older, drink became sort of secondary really, especially when I retired, because I had no sort of focus in a way. And then if you're still working though, people notice these things and think, oh, he's not switched on as he used to be, or have a little bit of sick leave. You start ringing and so I'm not feeling too well. And then people notice, he's taking all his annual leave very early in the year, all these sort of things, because you want to drink. And you feel so rough you can't go to work. If you do go rough, you don't perform at the same level as you should. That's what I'm saying. It's all sort of dovetail into health in a way, but there's other aspects to this. Financially, you'll find a big, big difference. Because my partner at the time very rarely drank. She didn't understand me, I don't think, but never mind. I used to go to the Bureau de Change and change cheques for cash. This is long before you could pay by your card. There's no smartphones, so 35 years ago. So I'd do that, and then she would be on to me, got the bank statement, what's this, £50? Yeah, for £50. I was in central London. It was pretty expensive, but I was drinking a fair bit as well. I was just trying to explain myself where that caused relationship issues, and I eventually got some credit cards, which she knew about, because I wouldn't join names. And I used to hide the statements. I used to intercept them basically and just put them in the bin. That went on for a few months. Got caught by that. That caused more issues in the marriage. Then eventually I opened a separate account on Piccadilly in London, at a branch down there, and I thought, oh, I'll just scribble a bit of money in there. So I used that as well. Any savings had gone out the window, really. Any plans, I was doing a lot of overtime, making quite a lot of money, but spending it as well. See, financially, you'll hit rock bottom because you'll always spend what you earn, really, won't you? So that was another difficulty. The stress of having to hide the bank statements or intercept the credit card statements, when's it going to come, and intercept the postman sometimes, just take the dog for water for the postman. All this, it sounds crazy, but this is what happened to me. And I used to be quite anxious anyway as a teenager, but the drink sort of settled me down, I suppose. The drink was my drug of choice, So all of your future plans will get messed up, and you start to sort of just live and try and survive and exist. Everything's going to crumble on you. So eventually I retired, relationship broke down, lost one of the houses in London, moved back to the northeast, and then it was a bad road for me then, because I was on my own. Financially I was all right, but I was at the pub every day. And then your health suffers even more, because you drink more, you don't eat properly, you don't look after yourself. Everything becomes a stress, and you become paranoid. I got to the point where I couldn't go on public transport, I couldn't fly. The odd time I did fly was when I was full of drink. I managed to hold myself together on the plane. I'm not a drunk as in a fighting drunk or crazy. I don't fall over. I drink on the plane, a couple of days into the holiday. I remember going to Greece, I don't know, 15, 17 years ago with somebody. They were a drinker as well. And I was so bad with the drink because of all these anxieties I had about the flying and all this sort of kind. So it will impact every aspect of your life. And if you're younger, you've got to look at it and think, well, this guy's been in a mess, i.e. me. I don't want to get in that mess because I'm lucky to be here. And a lot of people I know, I did know, have gone. And a couple of guys I know, one's got pancreatitis. He's on 17 pills a day. He drinks every day. Another chap I know who's had a stroke. He's in the pub every day. Another chap I know was much younger, in his 40s, learned that he had some sort of liver scarring when he was 22. He drinks every day. It's a massive, massive problem in the UK and all over the world, to be fair. So if you're watching this and thinking, how am I going to do it? If you've got any medical issues or you're dependent, you must see a medic, a doctor at some point. Well, before you do anything really. But if you want any help, drop me a line and I'll go into a bit more detail about my story. I've also got an ebook out as well. But you really have to look at this really seriously, because I don't class myself as a daft lad. I'm pretty intelligent, and I didn't know the dangers of alcohol use until it was too late. Because I've heard it described as falling off a cliff, but you just can't get back to the cliff edge again. You'll find out you're an alcoholic when it's too late. That's the problem. So you've got to stop. I'll put it in 4 stages under the video, the 4 stages. You've got to stop between stage 3 and stage 4. When you get to stage 4, you're a full-blown alcoholic. That's when it's dangerous. That's when people die. It's not doom and gloom. It's just a warning to everybody. And if you are benefiting from the channel, please subscribe and share a few of the videos and drop me a line. I'll speak to you all soon.